Hello everyone, my name is Miro and thank you for sitting down with me today where we will talk about trellising Hoyas, about my experience over the past 5 or 6 years, and where I will also attempt to trellis and retrellis some of my plants. Now before we begin, I do have to tell you, do not be concerned. All of these calatheas here that you see and these two anthuriums are not for me. They are for my friends. I have to send them out. Now did I get some of these for myself as well? That is not relevant, but I did not get 3 calatheas for myself, okay? You do not need to call help yet. This is going to be like a show and tell where I will tell you about all the mistakes and all my previous trellising attempts, ideas, fantasies, etc. in relation to trellises. And in the, show section, I will attempt to trellis several Hoyas. So basically you will be watching a dumpster on fire, because that is what trellising Hoyas is. It really is. We will deal with some of my Hoyas in the back, like this one with very big leaves. That one needs a whole new trellis, and then my fungi needs a new trellis, or it needs to be extended. Tamdao as well, but as you can see, some of them, like, I don't understand how camera works again. Like this one, this carnosa here, that one is completely without any support, and we will try to give some support to some of my Hoyas, because I do have a lot of Hoyas that do not have any support, so we're going to deal with some of them, but not all. Not everyone is going to be supported. I do apologize. Speaking of support, I do want to introduce the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Taking care of our mental well-being is as crucial as taking care of our plants, and some people will probably say it's more crucial to take care of your mental well-being, but I think those people do not have as many cute plants as I do, so just saying. It is statements like these why I think we need therapy. Reaching out for help can sometimes be daunting, especially if you are dealing with clinical mental health issues such as depression or anxiety. But BetterHelp makes starting therapy less intimidating and more accessible for most people because it is online. With a network of over 30,000 professional therapists, BetterHelp matches you with the one that is tailored to your specific needs, lifestyle, schedule, or preferences, helping you take that first step towards healthier and a happier life. Join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start leading healthier and happier lives. You can follow the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/basie.plants. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basie.plants. All you need to do to start is fill out few questions, and in most cases you will be matched with a professional therapist, usually within 48 hours. With BetterHelp, you can schedule therapy sessions through video call, phone calls, or messaging, really whatever fits your lifestyle best and whatever fits your schedule best. If you feel that the therapist you got matched with isn't the right fit for you, BetterHelp makes it easy to switch to a new one, ensuring a pressure-free experience. It is as simple as clicking the button in the settings of your app, and switching therapists no longer needs to feel like a breakup. So if you have clinical mental health issues, if you're struggling, or simply if you want to show up for people in your life as the best version of yourself, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Once again, you can follow the link in the description, or you can visit betterhelp.com/basie.plants. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basie.plants. By clicking that link, not only do you help support me and my channel, but it is also a great opportunity for you because I got you a 10% off of your first month of BetterHelp, so you can see if online therapy is right for you. Thank you, BetterHelp, for being the longtime supporter of my channel. Thank you all for listening, and now we can get back to the video, even though I don't really want to because I have to trellis, and you know, the trellising isn't really my favorite thing in the world. I think it's only reasonable before we start trellising that we actually have a sip of coffee. I do feel a little bit tired. It is very rainy here, but we're gonna try not to make this video ranty and rambly, but also there will be trellising, and I promise you it's really not that straightforward. It's probably gonna be a long video as well. Oh my goodness, that coffee is strong. Okie dokie, we do have several Hoyas here, and I have not decided if I am just showing these to you or if we are actually going to do something with these. They all need some work, not a lot, but some work is necessary. So we have Hoya Nathalie. I show you this in a recent video. This is one of the 2 Hoya Nathalies that I have already. Chaos is happening. She needs a little bit of work. She's not too bad. She could benefit from some retrellising. Then the next one that we have is actually, I think, Hoya flavida, if I am remembering the ID correctly. I will have to find the tag and match her back with the tag. This one has a butt. This is the butt. This is the front. And we can see that the front is much nicer than the butt. And that's how sometimes things are in life. So she could actually, benefit from some retrellising here, especially because you can see that I sort of threw this vine on there. She was actually doing somewhat okay. She looked somewhat okay on the trellis, and then as these vines start to grow, I sometimes just kind of throw them back on here. And in most cases, it doesn't work out, I'm gonna tell you, but I do feel like this front part is just so adorable. And I don't know, we will see how much we can do. Sometimes when you get to this stage of a Hoya where you have very long vines or where they start to twine around one another, it can be very difficult to fix that. You can see here, I mean, she's really tightly wrapped around itself. So we will definitely attempt to do something there to see if we can achieve a look that is slightly cuter. But I think she does look cute, so even if we kind of just do that and maybe potentially extend the trellis, I think that will be fine. But my goodness, a lush, lush, lush. Why won't you bloom though? Where are the flowers? Can you believe that was from a cutting? I'm so proud when I see Hoyas that are looking great and are from a cutting. This one, again, the same situation. I sort of kind of started to not really trellis them as much as, in the passing, clip them up. And it also has a butt. This is the butt, the gaping hole. We do need to fix that. I mean, it's fine if your Hoyas have a front and a back. I do prefer, especially in these tower trellises, when they are filled out all the way around. If this was some sort of like a plain trellis, meaning in like one single plane, not sort of 3D like this, if it was a ladder or something, then yes, that's logical. This would happen, but really there's no good reason why we would have this. And I think this would look very good on a ladder, actually. It can sort of work on here, but I think we would just have a nicer plant by now on a ladder. And then this is also a Nicholsoniae, and oh, I did sit on a vine. Okay, I do apologize. This one started to grow all over the place, and she is okay-ish. Again, we do have this moment here that's okay. Sometimes I really don't like the backs of these, but oh, that vine went into my coffee. Okay. She definitely needs to be retrellised, and we do need to untangle her here. So we can just start with this one, and I can start telling you about some of the mistakes that I did in the past in regards to trellising Hoyas. And we need to be very gentle as they sort of wrap here. And I'm going to tell you something. If you have a Hoya, it depends on what Hoya it is, but sometimes Hoyas like Piestolapis and Hoya patella can be really difficult to retrellis. Sort of Hoyas that have these thinner vines, they tend to wrap really, really tightly around the trellis. Countless times I had to cut the vines on patella and Piestolapis when I wanted to get them out, because they would just wrap themselves around the Hoya next to them. And it's unfortunate, but it has to be done. So don't be too hard on yourself when it comes to that. Sometimes it happens, and all I can say is it ain't my fault. And sometimes you will be in a situation where you were just not gonna do a lot of good if you untrellis the Hoya, and in that case just consider cutting it, because breaking the vine in a million places isn't really a good untrellising, I'm gonna tell you. So we're gonna try with this one, but I'm not promising any success. But anyways, back to the topic of the mistakes I did in the past, and that is essentially sticking with the trellis that I see that's not really working for a Hoya, and just choosing trellises that are way too small. And that is specifically when it comes to these tower trellises. By the way, I'm gonna answer this because it will be a million questions, and no matter how many times I answer, there will be a million more. These are rabbit fence trellises. You can buy rabbit fence in a hardware store, most likely. You will need something that is somewhat sturdy. I can't tell you how thick this is. I just always check, and I always buy a different one. You will need something that is somewhat sturdy. It usually is not that expensive. I think here for about 10 meters, you would pay $60, $70. It is coated in most cases, but you can get uncoated one. You can also buy tower trellises, and those usually look better than what you will do at home, but these are really the cheapest way to trellis your Hoya. I make a cylinder. You assume know how to make a cylinder. I already also have a video someplace how I make these. I'm not going to show you how to make these today, but they're very easy to make. Essentially, you cut however big you want your trellis to be, and you wrap it into a cylinder, fold it into a cylinder. But my advice here for you is do it for a Hoya that is already in a decent pot. I tried this with small pots. You can kind of make it work, but it doesn't really work. And I would just do this in pots that are 10 centimeters or above. This is a 12 centimeter pot. Once again, we do have to be changing that into inches. 10 centimeters is 4 inches essentially, and 12 is 4.7. So for 4.5, that would be the minimal pot size that I would choose for these. And my advice to you is make them as wide as the pot. You can see this one, or maybe you can't, hold on. This one is as wide as the pot. If you make it less wide than the pot with some of the Hoyas, not with all of them, but with some of the Hoyas, you will have a difficult time getting them on that trellis, especially Hoyas that sort of have those thicker vines. Everything that has a thicker vine, I find it much easier to put on a wide trellis. The wider, the better. And that's sort of good because Hoyas with very thick vines like Hoya obovata, melliflua, imperialis, all of those Hoyas are Hoyas that grow big. Griffithii. Griffithii you might be able to do on a smaller one like this or a narrower trellis like this, but everything that has a thicker vine, I would choose a wider trellis, or you can choose the arch. But if you want to go with this type of a trellis, tower trellis, I would choose a wider one for thicker vines because they are not really pliable. I just wouldn't choose a very narrow trellis for those types of Hoyas because you are more likely going to damage the vine, and then you're just gonna annoy yourself because you did that, etc. and so on. But these trellises are very cheap. I do like to use them. I will sometimes opt for the arch. And recently I have been opting for more and more arches. Is this mealy or sap? Oh, it's sap. Okay, bleed, but don't get any mealybugs. We will get to this, to the aesthetics later, but sometimes they also look better on an arch. So initially I would say most of my mistakes with Hoyas, with trellising, were really putting them on a trellis that is way too small for them, way too narrow, and then you really just get yourself into a problem. I would just choose something slightly larger because when they are having a good time, which is not always, as we know, due to pests, they are really good growers. What is going on? See, now we are in a predicament. We call this a predicament because this is going through here, and how the heck am I supposed to? Sometimes, you also need to cut a trellis, and this is why these cheap trellises are good. You're not going to feel that sorry when you cut them, even though sometimes I do, because I really don't love making them. That's the easy vine out. Now we need to get the hard one, which I have no idea how we're going to do. Another good thing about these trellises is you can extend them pretty easily. You can just choose one on top. You really cannot extend a lot of the other trellises. I know that ladder trellises, sometimes you can buy those that can be extended. I do wonder about stability. I think you can make this stable. For example, if you wanted to extend this, you can overlap by one field, or if you want to be really stable, you can even overlap with 2 fields, and that will give you more stability. So from that aspect, they are really good. But once again, they are not that pretty. I'm not living in any delusion that they're beautiful, but it is what it is. Sometimes you have to sacrifice beauty for, I don't know, bread, money, because it will add up. It will add up trellising your Hoyas. I have no idea how do we get this out. I do not want to cut anything yet, but I might need to. So yeah, essentially these are good. 8 out of 10, I would say. I haven't moved on really, but I've started to use some other trellises, especially the bamboo ones, which we will get to as soon as we get this thing out of here. And these work really great for thin-leaved Hoyas. I will show you Hoya exilis, which is coincidentally now in bloom. Thin-leaved Hoyas look really great on these trellises. They can wrap around, twine around the trellises by themselves. And that's great because then you don't have to do anything except to extend the trellis. And I do let the thin-leaved Hoyas twine because they're just such fast growers that it's really useless for you to do anything. Like sometimes in my tent, I will not look for a couple of days and half a meter of a vine will grow. And it's like, okay, can't do anything there. And you know, if you mess a lot with the vines, there are good chances that you are going to mess it up. And one thing when it comes to trellising and retrellising, almost every time that I retrellis a Hoya, I'm not happy with how I did, because if you just let them grow into the trellis, it always looks better. Almost always looks better and more natural, but I mean, you know, what are we going to do with the vines that are just hanging everywhere? We got to help them out. Oh my goodness, I did not understand how big this is. I was not aware or informed that this Hoya is, oh my gosh, of that size. Scary stuff. She is big. She is not small. I had no idea that she is such a chunk. I mean it in a positive way. We're not shaming her. Yeah, this is going to be the most challenging part, this bottom, because it seems to me that we are really not willing. Sometimes what I like to do also when I'm retrellising is sort of get the trellis out slowly. It sometimes makes it a bit more manageable if you start pulling the trellis out. You'd never want to really fold the vines too much, and every time I try to retrellis, I try to do it both patiently but also quick, because sometimes they just really snap when you're bending them. So we're just trying to avoid any snappage because that's not great for us. Okay, shut up, Miro, and focus. We're done. We're done. Okay, I'm not doing anything else. I'm actually probably not going to do the rest of them because this was one of the easiest to untrellis, and you saw how long that took. When you have a Hoya that starts to branch out, what I like to do is find the main vine and lay that one first. I do need scissors to trim some of the dead tips. Now, as to clockwise and counterclockwise, I don't actually know if that's true. I haven't. This one was left to its own devices and it started to grow clockwise. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I may have, because this was a small cutting, I may have just started it off, but as you can see, it does go clockwise. It is clockwise. What the clocks look, okay, that's the clockwise. I have some that go counterclockwise. What I do is I look how the Hoya starts to grow. And if it starts to grow this way, that's how I will trellis it. If it starts to grow the other way, that's what I will do. I look at the natural growth of the vine. You do whatever you want to do. I'm doing what I want to do. And clearly it's working. Oh, it's working out for her, but it's not working out for me because I don't know what to do. What I wanted to say here right now is that this is not going to be easy. We need to lift this vine, but I want to lift it a little bit more, yet I do not have enough hands. What I like to do, especially when retrellising, is to sort of find that main vine from which the other ones started to branch out. In that case, it's this one. And lay her first, and then do the others around it to fill out any holes. And I usually have one vine per Hoya, per pot, sorry, It wasn't until recently that I started to pot multiple vines per pot, which I do feel is not going to be that great for me. What I'm going to attempt, and you can see this one, I think, would look best counterclockwise. I don't know. Also, if you do hear the microphone, like Hoya leaves hitting the microphone, I do apologize. I think we need to put this here first, like this, so I can wrap this around. So that's the first topic sorted out, the mistakes that I did. Some of the other quote-unquote mistakes that I did with trellising Hoyas is I tried to grow some Hoyas hanging that can't, for me. They don't want to grow hanging. I was inspired by Camilla and her collection. If you follow Camilla Gadden on Instagram, you know that she grows a lot of her Hoyas hanging. However, that did not really work out for me, and some of them just really suffered. Some of them really suffered, so yeah, I don't know why that didn't really work out for me, but I tried for a long time, and that's one of the things. If you see that it's not working out, just stop. Just don't do it. Don't be stubborn. Just try something else, And this goes for the type of the trellis. Oh, we broke this leaf. That's unfortunate. It was a beautiful leaf too, but retrellising a Hoya is sometimes a dangerous task. Also, my other advice, which I never follow, is make sure that you are just ready. Clearly, I'm missing the tools here. You can get yourself ready by pre-cutting a lot of these strips from Velcro tape, and then as you are holding the Hoya vine, you can just select the tape very quickly and fasten the vine with the tape. And then we are on the top of the trellis, and these end vines sometimes are a bit rough in the sense that you will put the tape and they are just gonna find their way out. See, now we're getting a better look almost. I actually think this is looking better than it did, which, don't be surprised if it doesn't. It's not always going to be a success story. In fact, I would say most of my retrellising is not a success story. I feel like this one is though. That one leaf aside, I feel it's like a success story. And then now we have this other vine, which, oh, we have more than that. We have this vine too. Why is this here? Sometimes I will use these vines to kind of cover the bottom and yeah, I'm still trellising up, but I will let her kind of go down and up, if that makes sense. And I saw a video, Fern recently did a Hoya repot with trellising. And by the way, this video was supposed to be recorded earlier. We are a bit late with the video. Also, definitely use your teeth to open these Velcro tapes. But she was wondering about this, the vine should stay up. I don't know if that's actually, again, true. I do try to keep it up so it doesn't die back. For me, what seems to work best is to just leave the vine do whatever it wants to do. That seems to work best. The more you manage it, the more likely she is going to die back. And, vines dying back with Hoyas is also something that you kind of have to accept, especially with some species. They don't love their vines to be touched. Undulata is one of them, and if you can do it less, do it less. I sometimes cannot, but I do hope that there are people in this community who are not so hands-on like I am. We're almost done with this one. I will also go often under the leaf to hide the vine, so, I think this is just common sense. Don't go over the leaf, that's ugly. I don't know if we can even see that, but like this leaf here, I would go under it. And that way it sort of looks a little bit better. Arrange the girl a bit. Arrange the girl a bit. And I think here we can reuse this one. So sometimes you will have to undo and redo the Velcros. And then on the top, this is where something like a butterfly clip would come in handy, but I don't have so many of those right now. But that's that. And, I think that's good. I think she's looking not neater. She doesn't have a butt. She does have like a bit of a hole there, but she does look, for the most part, neater. And sometimes what you can do is you can push these vines inside and out to sort of make them tidier. So in between the in between the rabbit fence net, because sometimes the vine will go out, so I kind of push them in a bit inside the mesh thing. And not always a great plan, because that usually means that they will twine around something and you will create problems for your future self. But I also don't care about my future self, so you know, it's going to be his problem to deal with that. So I think this is a good example. Don't expect everyone to be a good example. I am currently unsure where the rest of my Velcro is. This is like everything that I'm working with right now. So we might need to come back for a day 2. I did not intend this to be a vlog, but apparently that is what we will need to do. Before we do that, I am going to use up all the Velcro that I have now, and maybe magically the rest of it will appear. I know it's somewhere here, but I don't know where. Now, let's talk about, is it necessary to trellis your Hoya? Why do we even do it? And which Hoyas can be or should be trellised? And essentially, the reason why we trellis the Hoyas is, well, twofold. One is some really need to be trellised in order to grow well. From my observation, I'm, again, trying not to say absolutes here, but my observation is that some absolutely must be trellised, and then some don't need to be, but you can if you want to conserve space. And that's also like the second part of the answer, obviously to conserve space, because they would take up a lot of space otherwise. I would trellis all the Hoyas with big leaves. I think that's a good idea to trellis those. They tend to grow really a lot better when you trellis them, and you will see that Hoya will search for something to attach to. Also, if Hoya has like a thin vine and like bigger leaves, something like Hoya verstegi, for example, that one will also like to have a trellis. They will start to wrap around things. And something like with smaller leaves, something like Lacunosa, Kentiana / Wayeti, Mathilde Schuke, David Kumingi, Burtonier, Affinity Burtonier, anything that goes there like Anka Genoe and something similar, Miguel Davidi, all of those you can grow hanging. It will become pretty clear. And once again, I did try to grow hanging Hoyas with bigger leaves. I tried with my Meredith, with a lot of my Finlaysonis. It didn't really work out for me. Again, I will tell you, Camilla seems to be able to do it. I just wasn't that good at it, or maybe, I don't know. I just wasn't happy with how that looked like. Maybe I should have given them more time, but I did give them about a year that way, and I just didn't love it. With some Hoyas, you can go both ways. Carnosa can be trellised. It doesn't need to be. Some of the carnosas can grow hanging, and it's perfectly fine. The same with something like Hoya pubicalix. Now, in this section, we will trellis some Hoyas, or we'll give support to some Hoyas in the back. So I will go and grab those. The tape did not manifest itself in the meantime. We have here Hoya fungi. This one has a yellow flower and a lot of calcium deposits, which we are not a fan of, but here we are. So that's how that looks like. It's a couple of months, not a couple of months, that's a lie. It's maybe half a year old from a cutting. It's growing okay. I do believe that she could grow better if she had a trellis. So we're gonna provide that. I have several options here. I do have one tower trellis. I know that I don't wanna put her on a tower trellis. I do have an idea, but I'm just gonna show you. And the other one is Carnosa from Hong Kong. This is from Camilla and surprisingly watered, which is shocking. A little bit dusty, but she looks very nice. I did damage one of the leaves here, but that's, you know, what happens when you have Hoyas everywhere. I closed it with the cabinet so it doesn't look that great. Now I'm gonna probably break the entire vine. So I will most likely put these on either a ladder, which, because the ladder is very small, you can buy larger, but these are the sizes that I have available. I'm probably not gonna put them on a ladder, but we can try. But I think I will put them on these bamboo thingies. So I do like to put carnosas now on these. I used to have carnosas, or not carnosa, I had a daciantha on a tower trellis and I did not love it. Now, the reason why I'm not going to put this on a ladder, because I don't have big ones. So that's the reason why, but it would look decent on a ladder. And sometimes I just try them out to see, let's get the sense of what that looks like. And that's not terrible. I do kind of think that's cute. But this ladder is very small, and this Hoya has big leaves, so she will get big. But, you can sort of do that. And that wouldn't be even the worst finished product. Now let's check out that on a tower. I think she is going to look super bad on a tower. These are as wide as the pot. I do cut out here a window through which Hoya can pass. So, for example, if I were to put the tower here, see, I already don't even know what to do with that. It just doesn't look good. This is quite a stiff vine, and sure, like I can put it something like this, but I don't really like that. It looks much worse. I can even try to go the other way around. That's even worse. I can go up, of course. But then, like, this whole structure is pointless. So we're not going to go with the tower trellis for that one. They do have their usage. There is a place and time for everything, but today is not the day nor the place for a tower trellis. So I did order more of these just recently. I was shocked to see that I only have 3 of these left. I feel like I should have at least, I don't know, 10. So I'm going to put them on the bamboo, because most of the plants in the back are in the bamboo. So I think, let's just see here. There is some leca here on the bottom. Ideally, you would do this earlier. And sometimes what I like to do is push the trellis forward, and then it kind of balances it out when I put the plant on there. This almost fell, so we have to move it down. Some people have commented in the past, a groundbreaking info, that I should fasten the trellis with a wire. I know, I don't want to. I don't want to drill the holes in my pots. And this doesn't have to be a bamboo trellis, it can be from any material, but I find that these tend to look really nice. See? That looks sort of cute already. And in a lot of the cases, you're not actually going to have stability issues with these. The reason why I have is because this is cocoa husk and it's very airy. So yeah, it's just doesn't have much to support it there. Sometimes I will just jam like a piece. I will take a piece of cocoa husk and jam it in there. And that way it's sort of stabler. It's a fast way to trellis them, and then I will do usually several initially. Once they grow in, then you can remove some of these. I don't honestly love to see these strips. And sometimes people will do 2 of these for stability. I don't know, you can add one like that. I don't mind it, and then push it down, tie them on the top. I typically don't do it, but you can if you want to, if you feel that's what's needed. You do you. I also like to save the money a bit here, and instead of using 2 for 1 plant, use a trellis per plant. Let's see if that's something that I like. I need to turn her towards me. Yeah, she needs to be showered, but essentially that is not repulsive, which is all one can hope for, right? I think she's looking cute on that trellis. Let's try fungi now. I do have 1 Hoya fungi on a tower trellis, and this one, I know I'm not going to do it, but I'm just showing you here sort of the way that I decide. See, it's just like already an issue. So it doesn't look very good. What is that? Other way around is even worse. I think the other fungi is in a larger pot even, so that's why it looks a little bit better. But yeah, for this one, I will also do bamboo. I think this is a Hoya that will get big. We can again try this. And something about the ladders, I do think they can also be a bit more space saving, because with the towers, your Hoya gets this three-dimensionality. With the ladders and bamboo arches, it stays kind of more flat. This doesn't look offensive. I would prefer a bigger ladder and then we might go with it, so it's kind of like that. But because we do have a very small ladder, this is I bought for smaller Hoyas, we are essentially bambooing her. I'm not trying to say that I hate trellises that are tower trellises. I love them. I use them all the time. I will continue to use them. I'm just saying that sometimes it is a little bit better if you use these bamboos. Okay, so that's what that looks like. You can sort of bend this gently, like that, and very loosely attach it, or you can leave it. It's up to you. Because we are Velcro in a Velcro shortage situation right now, and I do have like bits of Velcro everywhere, like here, I might actually just loosely attach it here. You don't want to push on those young vines way too much. So for big leaved Hoyas, do choose the correct size trellis right away. It just wouldn't make sense to put these on a small trellis. Another thing about these bamboo trellises is they do look a bit more satisfying while they are empty. They're not going to be empty for too long. The tower trellises don't look so good when they're empty, to be honest with you. It's just like wires, so it's not like super nice. This is nicer. I think something that's even less obvious, I see that a lot of people are using the polycarbonate type of stuff. I forget the name, sorry. I see a lot of people use those. Not available here, I'm not gonna order them. And also this can be, again, because it's two-dimensional, it can be unstable. You can drill your pots if you want to, but I'm not going to. The one thing I might do is put like a little dab of silicone to maybe hold it here. Maybe that wouldn't be terrible because the soil line is lower. Or even hot glue gun can help out here just in the corners to sort of hold this. But I don't want to melt my pots anymore because, first of all, these ain't cheap. They're one of the cheapest self-watering pots, but I don't want to melt them. I change my mind way too frequently to make such permanent decisions. For the next section, I want to tell you all the different types of trellises that I use. As you saw, I do use a lot of these rabbit fence trellises. For a moment there, it escaped me what they're called. And I'm using less and less of those now because I just found some different ways that are slightly nicer, but they do come in handy, especially in the tent, because that's sort of out of my sight. And in the tent, I do have a lot of species with thinner leaves that sort of like grew into this trellis. I'm going to bring you my Hoya exilis and show you what that looks like now. Granted, this one has seen slightly better days. So we have lost some of the leaves due to underwatering. She's currently dry, but not yet to the point where the leaves are losing their succulency. But yeah, this is not something that we can retrellis. This is something that sort of grew in there and I'm letting it stay there. You can also see she is filled with flowers. I should really record Hoya of the week for this now. They are beautiful. And you can sort of see it's a mess here. We have a lot of, I don't know, what's this? 5 vines? 5 growing tips into this one. It is a lot. It is a lot. And I think we are at the point where I could sort of extend this trellis and kind of make her go up. I noticed that with some of the Hoyas, when you kind of let them do that, they don't push out as many leaves as one would like. Oh, this is actually by accident a good size. So let's get some of these older leaves out of the way. So we're going to just try to the best of my ability, clean up the top here but I don't know how much we will be able to do, honestly. They grew in quite a bit here, so let's just see if we can sort of extend this trellis. So you will take this. Again, it would really be much, much better for many reasons for this top to not have vines of Hoya exilis. If the vines are on the outside, that's fine, but I have one vine here. She's on the inside. So of course, when I put in the wire, it gets pressed on. She's so tangled up that I think what I can do is just cut a bit of that top. Which, by the way, this is like not a tutorial by any stretch of imagination. I'm doing this at my own risk, and if you decide to do this, doing it as well at your own risk. So I'm going to cut this wire here, and then I don't actually know. Maybe I can cut the entire top part. I don't actually know what I'm doing, once again. If that wasn't clear, I really should have done this sooner. Okay. All right. I am now realizing this was a mistake because now we are essentially in the same situation like we were. So that's not the best. So maybe this is not a tutorial. This is not a tutorial. I don't know how many times I need to say that. So essentially my advice to you for extending the trellises is to do it early on. But also expect issues. Also, like if someone has a better idea how to do this, for this part, you are more than welcome. Let's try to make this shorter. This is really the best that I can do here with this. It's fairly stable. Now try to make these go up. Whatever. I'm trying to make her neater, but she's just a wild beast. I never expected Hoya exilis to be so wild, but here we are. So yeah, you can't really do much in these situations. We can try to somehow put those vines back in, you know, taking them and finding a way inside or around some vine that already exists. Or you can cut it, of course. You can always decide to trim them. This one is a good grower. I think if I trim this all the way, she would probably be a big plant within a year. You know, now I do think that this one might be a bit more easier to tame on a hoop. But we do have some space, and I don't think I can extend her beyond this because I can't repot her. The only thing we can do is stabilize her and then sort of make sure she stays healthy the way she is. But my gosh, isn't she gorge? Now, since we're talking about bad examples here, I do have Hoya here. It's sort of a bad example. This is a trellis that I was trying to use these triangular sort of trellises that I made from the rabbit fence, and it didn't really work out for me. This is one of those Hoyas that's not as easy to trellis. She does have a peduncle there, so I might not torture her too much. Now, she does look pathetic on camera, but she is actually not that pathetic in real life. And there are a lot of baby leaves here that haven't fallen off. They are waiting to grow. Essentially, we only lost leaves here, but the rest of the vine does have leaves that are sort of waiting. Now this is Hoya hamiltoniorum. So I don't think I'm going to touch her because we do have the peduncle there, and we do have some leaves here that are looking like they're meaning to grow. But I think this one would look really good on one of these trellises. And she is going to get repotted soon. And even though you can see sort of that I went almost as if this is a ladder, you can do that here, even though there are no horizontal ones. Or you can, of course, use the ladders. But I think this one would look really good on a larger hoop or on a ladder. I did have her on a tower trellis. I didn't like the look. And she doesn't really like to bend that much. Another one that is sort of a mistake, and I didn't really fix it. You can see this Hoya clemensiorum. This is Hoya clemensiorum with long leaf. Very sexy one. This one was on this tower trellis. You can just see the backs here, how beautiful they are. And this is unlike other clemenciorum. First of all, this one not easy to trellis. She will not bend to your will. You can try, but she really doesn't want to. I mean, you can sort of see here how she looked like, and this is just a concept. And she just doesn't look that great on a tower trellis. These vines are not big fans of being bent. There are leaves on each side, so I'm going to leave them. But essentially what I would do with this one is I think she looks nice on a ladder. She also does need a repot. I think the mix that I chose for her is not the best, but I think she would look nicer on some sort of a ladder. And we do have a new vine starting here, so let's just make sure that we don't damage that. And we don't necessarily even need that big of a ladder for this one. But, you know, it's one of the Hoyas that I don't think she's gonna look that amazing anyways on anything, but the ladder is a bit better in this case than that. Sorry, that's my Mr. going on the back. For my terrarium plants, we can also kind of move her up a bit. So it looks slightly better like that. This one did struggle a bit. She was in pon first and the roots rotted in pon. So now she is in organic mix, but I don't know. I think I don't like that mix. I think I will change it to something else. I essentially think the self-watering pot is perhaps not the choice for this one. Let's move on to the trellises that I do like. There is one more trellis that I sort of use aside from all of these that I really like, and I showed these to you before. And these are the trellises that I make from the bronze looking wire. It's not actual bronze, but it has this bronze look. This is also one of the things that's not super cheap. I think this is called craft wire. And again, it's not the cheapest. This is Hoya Carnosa Brazil. It's not the cheapest wire here, at least. I think I paid maybe $3 and I got 3 or 4 trellises out of that, so not the cheapest. And they're small ones. Small-leaved Hoyas look great on this and slightly larger. I think this is not for big-leaved Hoyas. It's not super sturdy. I think Carnosa is probably the biggest one that I would go for in this case. And we do see here that I sort of let this one go. Let's just try to bend it and sort of see where the plant wants to go. That's how I like to do it. I sort of let them decide. And in this case, I will just leave this vine. I'm not gonna trellis this end. So you can also, like, when you have this, if you really want to make it go up, just put it something like that in between the leaves. And essentially it's going up. It is cute like that. The way that I decide what trellis I will use is I, take several different ones. The ladder, this one, the arch from bamboo, and the tower trellis, and see what looks best to me. And when I trellis, I told you, I don't really follow the clockwise, anti-clockwise. I don't even follow these loops. Like sometimes I will try and see what the Hoya will look like, and I will try to bend it. Like this one, you can see it's already bent this way, and it's going there. I will try to confirm her to the trellis, and you can definitely do this. Someone suggested, and this occurred to me, if you ever bought Hoya australis from IKEA, they sort of tie her like it's bonsai. They use actually a rope. I thought about that for Hoyas with stubborn vines. I haven't really tried it, but obviously it can be done. And that's how some of these are sold in Netherlands as well. When you get some of the Hoyas, they have this sort of rope around them. I think this looks good. This is not the worst. This is a Carnosa Goddess Purple Pride, but I don't know if this is the actual Purple Pride, but it's also not just the regular outer variegated Carnosa. So these look cute on smaller Hoyas. What I just said, you don't always have to follow strictly the form of the trellis. Let me find you an example here. I think this Hoya, I believe I got this as the Siantha. This is sort of a good example where I didn't really follow only the bamboo because it didn't work out for me. So some of these, you can see they go diagonal. So it goes like this and then like that. And I think she looks very cute like that. I do have a difficult time getting these bamboo trellises, so that's why they are only just like that. There are with horizontal ones, horizontal supports as well. But, you know, if I could pick those, I probably would. But for the time being, we're using these. But even if they don't have those, you can make your Hoya sort of go that way. This used to be on a tower trellis, and I didn't like it, and I put it on this one, and I like it much more. And it's actually liking this trellis much more as well. It's growing much faster than it used to. So I'm very happy with that. And hopefully we soon will have blooms to just confirm the species. We now need the help of everything that is holy for this Hoya. She is big. She is big and she is beautiful. This is Hoya species that's sold as Tom Dow. I do believe this is probably some sort of fungi, and she is not an easy one to trellis. She's not an easy plant to retrellis. The vines have a mind of their own. They don't like to be bent. They will break often, and the leaves too. But we do see that she definitely overgrew this trellis by a lot. So I will try to be brave here and extremely gentle. So this here is just dead, so we can remove that. I am going to attempt to put this on a trellis that is a bit crazy for her because it's quite big. First, I will gently try to untrellis her and see what is up without breaking any leaves. Last time I did this in a video, I broke at least 2 leaves. So I'm trying not to do that now. We will be the gentlest we have ever been on this channel. Please don't. Please don't break. The nerve wreckness that I feel, there's just no way that we can save this trellis. And if I decide to put her back on the trellis like this, I do have several more. Especially, I do not want to break those giant leaves. They're big. That's a nice leaf. We can all agree. Whew. If you want to see me sweat, this is your opportunity. I know that some people are going to be like, I'm being too dramatic. Believe me, I'm not. You don't understand how much I adore this plant and how much sad I got last time that I broke those leaves. I was sad for days. If anyone has this Hoya, I know that you do, let me know how she is for you, if she is so sensitive. Okay, I'm gonna try to get up here. Please don't break. I love you so much. You are very important to me. Okay. So that's she. I'm gonna... Yeah, that's small. I do have a large one. I do have a large one. I don't know what to do with her, though. I understand this is going to look ridiculous, but I have full faith in her. I understand. It's a big one. It's a big trellis. I have faith in her that she can grow and fill it out. This is making me want to puke. So we are essentially... She could go on a tower trellis that's very large too. We are essentially going to decide here what's the front and what's the back. I think something like that. This pot is too small for the trellis. Unexpected complications. I need to go off the camera to the floor because I'm gonna push this in. I am still here. I'm essentially successfully pushing the trellis in. Hi. Okay, we're back. This is going to be unstable. I'm going to see how these vines are growing. Kind of try to untangle the vines. What I'm essentially trying to do is untangle this. And once again, I need to get up. That moment when you realize that this Hoya is bigger than you realized. She's not gonna be super full, but we're gonna get there. I need this chair to be here See, I'm just kind of following and seeing what the Hoya wants to do. And I'm really trying not to force anything. So far, we're looking okay. The other vine, I am going to turn it towards me to sort of get a look. Yeah, these are the leaves that we broke. She actually has several peduncles, so that's kind of cool. What a freaking specimen. She definitely needs to fill out this trellis a bit more, but what a specimen. We should actually secure her here as well. She does need some new vines towards the bottom to make her fuller. I feel I've been sort of very lucky that nothing broke, but yeah, that's a specimen there. So we'll see if she fills out this fairly quickly. Yeah, I do think we will need a heavier pot though. She doesn't have that big roots, I think. A lot of them actually have dried out way too much. So I will stop this for now, and there will be one more segment to this video. Is it me or do I look odd today? Don't exactly know what is going on, but okay. I do look strange to myself in the computer screen. Anyways, it's been a couple of days since I made the majority of that video, and I sort of need a finishing touch. I initially, when I set out to make this video, was really hoping it's gonna be much shorter than that. But hey, here we are. It's not. It's not shorter than that. It's actually a very long video, and I don't apologize because, hey, enjoy it, right? Take comfort that it was much more difficult for me to edit and to actually do all of the chores. But we have a very filthy Hoya fungi here. This is my Hoya fungi. She's kind of like very... Oop, she is wanting to escape me. She is a very nice plant, some very gorgeous leaves, and this really started off like a normal fungi would, and then the leaves progressively got more interesting. And she is in a... This trellis is very, very small for her. I wanted to retrellis this, but then I noticed the buds have grown here, and I just don't want to damage that because I do want to make a spotlight video for Hoya of the week. And if I do retrellis her, it's going to be a mess. So I'm going to wait. But she's essentially a very big, very long plant. But some of these leaves are just, aside from being like dusty and there are cobwebs on them, which I'm not going to apologize for, they're just so absolutely stunning. And when this fungi sort of transformed into this, my love for fungi and carnosa types just, I don't know, it just was born. They're very pillowy. Look at that. That's a pillow. That's a pillow. I want to sleep on that. But anyways, we're not going to retrellis her. I will do it once she has done blooming, so it will probably be in some future plant chores videos. I'm actually even surprised to see that she's about to bloom because she has not gotten a lot of light back there. It sort of looks like there is more light than there is on the camera, but that's because, the cameras are sometimes weird, or I don't know how to use them, one of those two things. But anyway, we did retrellis my Tom Dow, and of course now I don't know where to put her, but she's kind of there. She looks much better in person than she appears on camera, but there is like a really nice section here which I will show you. So essentially what I'm looking for is for the entire plant to have like this bushy look, and we will get there. I think she might like this setup more. I just think that she wasn't really growing as much. I just twisted her too much on that trellis. I think she prefers to sort of grow like this. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm leaving her, not every Hoya needs to be super bushy right away, but this will definitely get there. And I think this is like her final trellis. Obviously, I'm not gonna make a bigger one, but that's huge. I just don't think you realize how big this plant is. Everyone who comes and sees these leaves in person is just mesmerized by them. Oh my God, I'm using such big words. And some leaves do come in weird like these. I don't know why. Some do come in like that, and that's fine. We will sort of treat this plant for mites. I do think she had a bit of mites too. I do see some pitting on the back of the leaf, so we will do that. But other than that, I think she's doing okay. I think obviously we can grow a little bit better, but yeah, that's very nice. I think I will make like a section here next to my window where they can stand. I do have one more trellis like that. And this trellis was actually purchased by my friend for my Hoya lambi, because that one is also growing kind of like up and doesn't really want to be trellised. Some Hoyas are just not going to react really well to being trellised. And you will find that out. I found out that a lambi sort of likes to grow first. And then once she has grown to a certain length, or you got like a nice amount of leaves, then you can trellis her. But yeah, just let them grow out also. What I wanted to do now, before we leave, is just say a couple of more things. I know, yap, 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 yap. He doesn't want to stop yapping. First, we need to trellis one more Hoya, and I think this is doable. This Hoya is just amazing, and I want her to be the biggest beast that you have ever seen. This is Hoya from Lao Chao Forest from Vietnam, and this blooms like a carnosa slash fungi. But like those leaves, excuse me, how dare you? Are you okay? What's up? It's like 30-centimeter leaf. Huge. The new leaves are slightly smaller, but nevertheless they are beautiful. They do look a bit more elongated plain fungi to me, but some of them are also getting a bit undulate. These are a bit undulate here. I don't know how well that shows in the camera. Nothing like Hoya undulata, but they're a bit undulate, and I see even in some of the new leaves that we have that wave a bit. So I think we're getting there. She is 2 cuttings in the same pot, and she has been so far quite a good grower. We are just going to trellis her. This trellis is a bit small. I want her to be much, much, much bigger. And I think she would also appreciate a lot more if I would just put her on a large trellis and sort of let her go up. I really want this to be huge. I don't care. I will kick my bed out. I will not sleep anymore ever again. That's the plan. So we're just gonna do this one and then a couple of more things that I want to say, which I guess I can say while I'm trellising this, right? So what I wanted to say first is that you just have to accept that your trellising may not come out amazing, and that's a bummer. You can do all the things right. I don't even know if there's like a wrong way to do something here, but sometimes, you know, it will take some time for them to look pretty. And that's okay. Don't be too disappointed. Hoyas are just really messy plants in general, and the sooner you accept that, the better you will feel. It's kind of like you have to accept that in most cases the monstera variegated, the white parts die back. So accept Hoyas are messy. This is huge. Oh my gosh. It will be just that much easier for you when you accept this. You know, this really wants to... Can you just go all the way in? Thank you very much. Here too. I'm gonna try to poke around in the pot a bit to move this mix. Thank you. Now, see, sometimes they just want to escape from one side, and I just don't understand how rude. Now it's crooked. Well, I was just talking about acceptance. It's just so crooked. Yeah, you can totally see that on camera. That's how it's supposed to go. And when I let it... F you. Can I just maybe put this in and then... I don't know what would happen if I put this in and kind of tie it around that. Will that help? The answer is no. Okay, I'm gonna drill this pot. I'm gonna drill this pot and tie this trellis off camera. I can't go and look for my soldering iron now. Huh. Well, the person who suggested that I should do that, I guess you finally got your way. So anyway, let's just put her up like she was. I really like that look. One more thing about trellising. I know I use a lot of these, the Velcro tape. I use it because it's cheap. You get a lot. I mean, it's not cheap here, to be actually quite honest with you, but you do sort of get a lot of it, and it is very useful. I can't deny that. However, when you have mealybug infestation, which we are currently on the, how do you say when you're on, like on the verge of it? We're on the verge of it, but I'm fighting back with all of my power. But we do be verging, and hopefully we are going to stay just on the verge and not jump into the full mealybug infestation. These are just much more difficult to sterilize, and I don't prefer to reuse them. After sterilizing them, I soak them in alcohol, but I just much prefer the hair clips. I used to even not like the dragonfly clips, but I don't know, the more you grow Hoyas, your tastes change. And I swear, in the beginning I was like, oh, those are just so tacky and awful. And now I'm like, I really want to have them. I have to put it down here to kind of finish off the trellising. My gosh, this is such a big Hoya. This one is actually half a year old, and it's growing so fast. I cannot wait for her to fill out this trellis. Okay, we have finished with this one too. I'm just gonna lay her flat. So there is quite a lot of room for her to go around even. I do hope she branches out here. There is like a growth point, so then I will make that growth point go this way. The growth point from this cutting sort of went this way. The bigger cutting had just these gorgeous, beautiful leaves. I was just so impressed. I actually think I cried a little when I unboxed these cuttings. It's such a beautiful Hoya. I would have to say this is probably among my top 5, if not top 3. And it really shows you the diversity of Hoya, because again, I'm telling you, this is something close, if not the same as fungi or carnosa. We do have a couple of peduncles here. They haven't budded up. They obviously started to grow with the new vine. All of this is just new growth in several months. I hope she overtakes everything that I have. That is what I have to say. I think I'm gonna be using more of the clips, dragonfly clips in the future. We'll see. She's actually, when you compare her to fungi, my fungi has grown such big leaves that this one maybe is less impressive. Let me try to put them side by side. Oh my God, these two, not my fungi, sorry, my tamdao. What beasts. They're gonna look so good next to one another. Maybe I can even tie them together to kind of make it stable. Oh, love it. I am in love. I'm gonna put that aside now, and it's sort of time to end this video. Who would have thought, right? Thought this was never going to end, but hey, even bad things have to come to an end. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that it was useful to some extent. I hope it was fun. It was far more tasking than I thought it would be. I don't know why I thought that in this video I will just retrellis like 20 Hoyas in like 20 minutes, as if it takes a minute to retrellis a Hoya. It's actual torture, but anyway, I'm going to leave now. I have Hoyas to water, I have Hoyas to repot, and mealybugs to... Let's not get demonetized for saying words we shouldn't on YouTube. Leave a comment down below if you have any trellising ideas, suggestions, or just share the pain that we all share when it comes to trellising Hoyas. And I will see you next time in Hoya of the Week. And that's that. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your plants. Enjoy my plants. Bye-bye. I would like to take some time to thank all of my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons. My 2 anonymous patrons, Alex von Siebenthal, Amber Clear, and Margaret Munt, Angela Bernard, Angela Parrish, and C. Aspen Drake, Betsy, Brett Noble, Candy Taft, Catherine Molina, Christine Claire Kola, Daniela, Danube Daniels, Daria Kaminska, Dili Heredia, Diane Sikorsky, Dipanjali Rao, Eva W., Erin Keenan, Eleni Saxon, Alan M. Mortal, Farah, Gathering Moss, Gina Geise, Go Green Tropical, Gross It's Kyle, Heather Uppingham, Hoji Scott, Hoya Heather, Yana Griffin, Jessica Chio, Jonas Barry, Hjorth Larson, Jovan Denoth, Cara, Catherine P, Casey Gross, Callie Gallagher, Kelso, Kimberly Polka, Kiwi Mochi, Christy Ehrlich, Lisa Mary, MPLS, Lori J. Revert, Mandy Milliken, Marcel Har, Maria Stein, Marina Yarmolich, Mars B, Marty Miller, Mary Rose, Melissa Walker, Michael Curley, Michelle Heron, Nicole Ferranti, Mirka Grun Roos, Moa Edmond, Nelly Yang, Niha Basso, Nicole Maroney, Nanguin, Nita Macy, BJ Planet Druid, Rachel Peterson, Sandra Cornelius, Sherry Kumar, Sophia Rian, Stephanie H2O, Tessa Martins, Tia B, TJWO, Trista Bailey, Tristan Thomas, Wendy Rossman, Zenia Green, Youth of the Walmut, Zaira Rivera, Zordarama, and Zlakov Niponi. A big thank you to my $3 patrons: Angelina Farnan, Kilone Constance, Daryl De Rosario, Deborah Violet, Eden C, Catherine Parsons, Kens Brown, L. Lindberg, Lindsay N, Mary H, Nella, Syke Zera, Renee Church, Ringlov, Tangwa Tanasriakul, and Wendy Foreman. And a thank you to my $1 patrons: one anonymous patron, Alice Borrelin, Brandon Pacheco, Christina Greengrass, Colleen Coyle Levi, Couture Helvetica, Emilia Bronson, Jamie Arsenath, Jolie Sullivan, Kayla Vavra, Kelly Ash, Chris Perez, Lauren M, Lori N Subramanian, Usman Fernandez, Neely Spicer, Nerdy Kathy, Olivia Chinmuller, Sarah, and Tracy the Eyebuller.